Hey everybody, welcome back to the repair. So did a little bit of thinking and I think I know where I'd like to go next with this thing. Again, the target to finish this car is spring 2025. So that's in about 4 months from now. So the idea is I would like to get the interior finished, right? That way at least I can do two things. I can work on the electrical, basically fill this all up, and at the same time then work on outside patches, because everything else is essentially trunk or just outside stuff. So rocker panels and rear floor pan is next. And then at least I can put the interior back and that's all finished. And then I can do outside stuff. So let's take a look at the inside at the back here. So I removed the panel and vacuumed out all of the flaked out rust and garbage that accumulates inside there. And it actually doesn't look too bad on the inside. I know this looks bad, but let's take a look. So the rear floor pan, it looks complicated, but basically it's just welded on top of that rocker and then connects to the wheel well pretty simply, and I think it's probably okay even up to that hump, midway through that hump. So, and it's essentially just a flat piece with some stuff on it, so it's not that bad. So let's take a look at the inside here. This is the inside of the rear window here. So as you can see, the rocker panel, which is that thing on the floor, is actually not too bad, right? Right? It's actually not too bad. And even the quarter panel, so that black thing there, that's the quarter panel, right? It's actually not that bad. Right? So how they build this thing is the floor pan connects to the rocker panel, and the rocker panel goes from from the cowl all the way back to the wheel arch, right? And then stuff gets welded on top of that, right? So this, on this two-door, it's just a post, but on a four-door, I think it's called a B-pillar, right? And then that just gets tacked on, welded on to the quarter panel, and sorry, onto the rocker panel, and then the quarter panel actually goes on top of that, right? So the rocker panel welds on top of that. So the seam for the quarter panel actually is not bad, right? So I thought this whole thing was bad, but because it's primed. So I don't know what this guy was doing, but it actually doesn't seem that bad. I bet you this is solid. In fact, it even looks solid all the way around to here, right? And I was just able to flake off with my finger. I mean, look at that paint. That's gorgeous. That's the original paint. And I don't know what this guy was doing. It looks like he was trying to paint it silver or something. So, and actually all this looks okay to here, right? So the quarter panel, it looks rough, but it may not be that bad to here, right? So obviously in the front, it's definitely gonzo. But in the back here, it might be that the quarter panel doesn't need any patching, and it's just this B-pillar needs to be, I just need a little piece on the bottom here, right? And then basically I can wire wheel all this stuff up to here, and then from here to here, where this next piece is welded on, like that will definitely need to be replaced. But I think the back here is actually not that bad, right? So let's wire wheel all this off from maybe here onto here. Let's expose part of this quarter. I bet you that that's all good. Amazingly or not, I believe that's all good, right? And then we just have to worry about just a piece here, and that's it. And then when that's done, we can maybe turn to the wheel well. So this is bad here. We'll have to patch that up. So that's the next step. Okay, the area is all cleaned up here, and we can get a better look at the damage. So I guess I kind of knew that this would be thin. There's a couple of pinholes there, but interesting though that they put a drain hole here in the rocker, right, to catch all the main rain from here. So the rot is not bad here, it's just a little bit rusted, but the main problem was anything underneath metal. So anything metal sandwiched upon metal got the worst of it, right? And then right here when it's over, it's gone, right? So I gotta think about it with if I want to put a panel here. It's not that bad, and obviously no one's gonna see it if I just go over that, right? But anyways, I'm gonna think about that. But this panel here, right? So when I put that one on, I also have to remember that this curve here kind of fits with this door. So I gotta make sure, I can't just weld this on. I gotta make sure that I maybe tack this on here and here, and then start hammering on this till the door clears, right? Because the weather stripping seals against here, but this has to fit with the roundness of the door, right? So on this part here, yeah, for sure I have to make, I think I make patch panels for here. But I don't think, I don't know, let me think about it. I don't think that's really a weak spot. It doesn't make the rockers really weak, right? Because the strength is this way, not really here. Anyway, let me think about it. And the doors have to fit. So the doors, or at least this door, there's actually no play in this, right? So when this goes on, I think the door just needs adjustment. I think someone monkeyed with this thing. Because you can see it's about a ½ inch low here. But when it goes in, it's okay. Actually the line's not bad here or there. So the door needs a little bit of adjustment. But anyway, the round part here needs to fit here. So let me see what I'm going to do about this. So this is the inside of the rocker, and so it looks like they compartmentalize these things, and I was just lucky enough that I hit it right there. I didn't go over, but anyways, it looks like it's galvanized, right? That's the underneath of what I took out. It looks like it's either zinc coated or galvanized or something on one side. So, yikes, wear a respirator when you weld. Okay, that's it all welded up. Let's see if the door closes. I think that's good. I don't know. I think that's good because I think that's fine. The seal is around here, and this is more or less straight and then up. So after cleaning this up, I think it should be fine. Yeah, I think it's okay. So I'm going to try to do this with the door still attached because the seal is here. So as you can see here, the seal is here, right? And it goes down, and then it goes down. So it transitions here, and then it comes down, and then it goes here. So this curve, it's really important to make sure that curve is maintained, or else the door's not going to close, right? So I think there's enough room though, right? So let's get this thing sanded down and see how bad it is. So it looks like probably it's okay up to here. Probably this is okay. Right. Obviously, from here on, probably here. That's done. So that's done. That's starting to go. Like a whole piece from here probably even more. So this hole here, that's actually the same drain hole as we had here. So this is actually supposed to be there, but it looks like it's etched away. So I don't know. Okay, so let's form this piece here, right? Just because we have this here, then we'll rip this off. Ay, this is bad all the way up to here. Okay, I think I come up with a plan here. So this whole piece here, if you take a look at the thickness of this metal, right? This is extremely thick. This A-pillar here, this is 14 gauge metal, right? And it probably has to be 14 gauge metal because the door bolts to it, right? So probably, you know, this whole firewall back here and this here, that's probably all 14 gauge metal, or at least this A-pillar here is 14 gauge metal, and then that thing screws to it. So if I were to remove this and replace it with this cheap sheet metal, I'd actually be making it worse than it is now, right? And also this whole inner structure here, this is all rusted as well. So, you know, if I start taking this thing apart, I'm gonna make things worse, right? The correct answer obviously would be to replace that, but you know, 14 gauge metal, I'm not shaping that. I'd have to buy a piece, and there isn't even a piece available. So, you know, there's the right way to do something, and then there's the quick hack way to do something. And this isn't a show car. So I think what I'm going to do is, like, look how thick this is, right? This is extremely thick, right? This is extremely thick. So I think what I'll do is I'm just going to use the cheap sheet metal to patch this, right? And this rocker, I don't know if it's 16 gauge. It looks like it's 16 gauge, right? So what I'll do is I'm going to just basically cut it in a 1/4 inch here, right? And then put a piece here all the way as far as I have my scrap piece, right? And then I'm going to cut it here, right? Because this is thicker and better than anything I can do, right? Except for obviously this rotted piece here, right? But yeah, no one's going to see that. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut a 1/4 inch, put my patch panel in here, and just weld here. I'm just going to basically melt these pieces together, so at least I can continue the strength of this. And then my patch piece is probably going to come in a little bit and just patch against the corner here, and that's it. So cheap sheet metal patch here, 16 gauge here, and then basically clean it up, because this doesn't seem like it's, you know, it doesn't seem like it's that bad. All right, like this obviously. Like this is okay. But just these pieces, right? But up to here, actually, it's okay up to around here. Right here is bad. So I think my patch will go up to here. So I think we're good. So that's the plan. Even this isn't bad. So that's the plan. Okay, so this is about as good as it's going to get. I'm going to have to hammer this in while it's on. So I'm going to weld it here, and then here, and then just start hammering it because it's so hard to get this piece. This has to actually stretch. This has to shrink, right? And all the while, you know, it's missing a hole. There's a hole here that I can't form. Anyways, I'm going to try my best to shape that. The important thing is that it lines up with the door, right? So, but I'm going to have to weld it anyways. But I have my template here, so as long as I can match that curve here, it's right here, then I'm good. All right, let's try and weld this in. So this door, sure enough, is not fitting, right? Won't close. So obviously when I was banging it down, this is the form the metal wanted to take, but that's not the correct form. So there's not much you can do here except for cut it and just try to tuck it back in. So I think it's basically here. So we're going to cut it there. That's it. That was not an easy piece. My goodness. Anyway, it's all welded in. And last time I checked, it fit good. Let's just try again. Good. No resistance. That's perfect. Holy smokes. That was... I hope the other side's good. I don't want to do that again. Zowie. Alright. That's the next piece. Okay, the patch pieces welded in. Probably need to be cleaned up a little bit, grinded down. So I'm going to turn my attention to the back. So it looks like mostly this stuff is okay. All right. It's actually mostly okay, just the bottom few, right? But this one is actually pretty bad here. Like, it looks like the rocker here is eaten through, so I need to weld a piece here. So let's try to focus on this and
well, this is the basic idea. Now I'm going to get my head in here, so it's impossible for me to film this. But essentially the idea is that there's a curve going this way, and there's a curve there, and there's so many curves. I'm going to just try to hold this down and just kind of spot weld it. Hammer weld, hammer weld, hammer weld. And hopefully it will kind of line up at the bottom here as I do that. All right, let's see how that goes. All right, we're all patched in. Turned out okay. I mean, the whole thing is rusted, so you know, it's not gonna be perfect, but it's better than it was, and with a little bit of asphalt undercoating, that'll be fine. Okay, I think what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna make just one big whole piece here, right? Because it's bad here. It's all bad up to there. It's okay over here, but it has to be cut up here. So basically, I'm going to cut out from here to here, and then there, and then there. It's bad here and here. Now this is the seat bracket, right? And if I just cut this off, I'm not going to get the exact location. So this, I think what I'll do is I'll just kind of cut it out like a box and leave the whole thing there. When the new pan is ready, then I'll put it over top, and then underneath, I'll trace it out from underneath, and then that way I'll know exactly where this goes back. So I'm gonna have to cut this out very, very precisely, and then that should do it. Man, oh man, I cannot bend this part. It's just, the metal just won't go there. I can't bend this part flat, and then bend this lip down, and then bend this up, and then bend this down, and then bend this. It just doesn't, the metal does not want to go there. It keeps bending back and forth and back and forth. I keep hammering, and it doesn't want to give. And I got this crack here, stress crack. So this won't work. So I think what I'll do is I'll just cut this around here, and I'll make one piece here, and then I'll just make another joiner piece for there, and that'll be it. Oh man, this did not want to go there. My goodness. Pan is all welded in. A couple batches, but generally turned out pretty good. So next thing we want to do is get this seat bracket in. So just cleaned it out. that's going to go somewhere here. And underneath, hopefully that piece is still there. So let's see if we can mark it. Okay, so this is that little tab we left in here. So this is pretty tight. We just need to mark that off, and that should do it. Okay, this is pretty good. I mean, it looks like the other one. I don't remember how close it was. Anyways, that looks good to me. So, next. Last piece is this. So the idea here is, because this piece is new and good clean metal, I'm going to put a piece on this side and then just kind of stitch it at the bottom and then just fold it over here, right? And weld it in. So there's going to be a little gap here, but it doesn't matter. This should hopefully, I might have to trim this a bit. I might have to trim that a little bit. But let's start by getting a piece of paper. Self-etching primer. Okay, this is the end of Rusty Gate. Hopefully there's enough to cover this spot. Okay, this is called Satin Bronze by Rust-Oleum. So this is pretty close to this. I don't know if you can see that. Finding this color is really difficult. It's not like any other, gold color. So this is called, this is JY6 in 1974. It's called Gold Haze Metallic. And that's tough. It's hard to match that, but looks pretty good to me. So we're going to carry on this area and then paint the rest of the pan. So this says remove safety clip. This one? All right. There's a gorgeous spring morning. The birds are out. Rocker looks great. It even, you know, somewhat matches the original color. Maybe not that close, but not that bad either. So the bears on one side and the Rust-Oleum on the other side. Looks like the bear is actually a little bit shinier, but it's okay. So that is all done. It looks great. So I'm going to have to put a bead of caulking down the seam there. But otherwise, rockers, well, one side and seat pan are done.